Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's the Master Gamer giving you a brand new video. And in this video, we're going to be going over the gameplay Superstar X Factors blog that they released yesterday, paired off with a live stream. Sorry it's been a minute, just Madden season's been over. I don't really know what to upload, I'm not going to lie. So, just kind of been hanging out, chilling. However, the start of the 20 information cycle is upon us. And yesterday we got the deep dive blog into the Superstar X Factor abilities, and it went into depth into a lot of different things, so we'll go over those as well. So essentially what the Superstar X Factor abilities are is a set of active and passive abilities that go onto a elite core group of players. So the active abilities are going to be the zone abilities. Those are going to be much more rare. You're going to see them much more infrequently, but they're going to be much stronger as well. So you look at it as, if you're playing like an RPG, your ultimate ability is going to be your zone ability, while your other side abilities are going to be your passive abilities, which is going to be the Superstar X Factor abilities. The name kind of sounds a little backwards, but the zone is going to be those high-powered ones. The X Factors are going to be kind of going on in the sidelines, what separates players play to play. Now, the thing about the zone abilities is not only does it take a certain amount of objectives to unlock it for a game. So in this example, they show Patrick Mahomes. He has the bazooka ability as his zone ability, and his objective is you need to complete some unknown number of passes over 30 yards in a game to activate this ability. However, if you throw a pick or you get sacked, you get knocked out. Now, I don't know if that resets your number before you've earned it, or once you've earned it, that knocks you out. I don't know exactly how that works. However, there is essentially a set of counters to knock you right out of that ability if you aren't competing at the high level with the ability. You aren't using it properly. You're just kind of going with the flow, not really taking advantage of the opportunity. You will be punished for that. Now, some examples that they show for the Superstar abilities is No Look Deadeye, Escape Artist, Dashing Deadeye, and Red Zone Deadeye. So what these do is No Look Deadeye will help you throw across your body a little bit better. Well, actually, it's going to be perfect. Let's scratch it. It's going to be perfect across your body. And they also announced that Mahomes is the only one that has that ability. Escape Artist is going to give you a lot better speed while scrambling in the pocket. Dashing Deadeye is going to give you perfect accuracy on the run. And Red Zone accuracy will give you perfect accuracy in the red zone. Now, it is worth noting that high and low throws are pretty much not accounted for on all of those. I'm not sure if it said on all of them, but I think on the stream they actually did mention it. High and low throws were not accounted for in those perfect passes. So they were trying to keep game balance in mind when they create all these things. So don't be too worried yet. I know initially when I saw it, I was kind of terrified. But as you get more and more information, you kind of start to ease into it. It's not as bad as initially thought because they are taking game balance and keeping that in mind. So moving right along, they show another example in the blog. I'm not going to get into all these right now. I'll keep it up for a second so you can pause it if you want to read all these. But this is an example of Julian Edelman's Superstar ability. I think what this means, and it's worded kind of weird here, so I'm not 100% sure, is that Julian Edelman only has a Superstar ability. He doesn't actually have the zone ability. Now, I could be wrong, but the way it's kind of worded here leads me to believe he only has one ability, and it's actually a Superstar. So again, not everybody has these abilities, and Julian Edelman's he's a high overall receiver. He's one of your better receivers in the league, and he only has one ability. So it's not going to be like every single player in the game has all these different abilities. It's only going to be limited to elite players. Now, then they give some more examples of different Superstar abilities. Pass Lead Elite, Pocket Deadeye, Matchup Nightmare Elite, Edge Rush Elite. I can talk in the English. So, I'm not going to go over those right now. On for another day. If you want to read them, great. If you need them explained, I can explain them later. I'm not going to do that right now, though. So, they explain kind of the game balance. They want to have a lot of balance to these abilities. They want to have user skill combined with other abilities as ways that you can kind of counter said abilities. They don't want it to be limited to one thing. They want to have multiple ways to counter abilities so that way it doesn't feel like there's one overpowering ability, that it just enhances gameplay and makes gameplay different based off who you use and special, as opposed to just, here's the best one, let's use it on everybody, and let's just, make everything the same. They're trying to differentiate gameplay, make players feel different, and that's really cool. So we'll see what happens there. Now, moving right along, I'm not going to break down the franchise mode and ultimate team sections just because there's not really much there. They don't really say much because they're going into their own blogs in the later weeks, and we'll break those down then. So I'm not really going to get into that right now because it's not really worth getting into. Now, they mentioned superstar animations, and that's important. So they mentioned throwing and passing animations, which I think are the same thing, but there's slight differences. So the throwing animations is literally the throwing motions of the quarterback when throwing the ball. They tried to kind of standardize those while also making them look unique to each quarterback. So you're going to have, I think they mentioned here, Aaron Rodgers is going to have all his different types of animations, and they showed all the mocaps of them doing all the mocaps for Aaron Rodgers, I think it was, on the stream, and that was really cool. All his different types of passes, the way he sidesteps, all that cool stuff, that was on the stream. So all that's been more tailored to each quarterback. Not to mention, they did mention in here as well that shorter passes are going to have a quicker release than longer passes. It sounds straightforward, but it really hasn't been as consistent in years past. They try to make that more consistent in this game, and every time they mention consistency, I'm all for it. Now, in passing animations, this paragraph is kind of more of the same. However, this paragraph is slightly different. So you're going to notice that in Madden 20, the passing trajectory arc is actually higher than in years past. That's been a huge complaint for a lot of people in the community. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was my biggest thing, but I know a lot of people were annoyed about the trajectory of passes. However, with the trajectory of passes changing, that means the speed of the ball getting there has to change because that's how physics works. If you're going at an arc to get it at the same spot, you're going to need to slow it down a little bit. So the throw power is actually going to be decreased this year, but the arc is going to be higher. So again, keep that in mind. That's something that I know a lot of people were asking for. They did get what they wanted in that instance from what it looks like. I mean, we don't really know what it looks like yet. However, we know the design is there. So, and it's hard for me to say because I really didn't mind it. So I don't know exactly what the want was. I can sit here and try and explain it, but I'm not the one asking, so it's probably not fair for me to do that. They added a pump fake mechanic back, but they changed the way it works. So in years past, I don't even know how to pump fake. You just accidentally do it sometimes. You're like, I don't want to do that, and then you get sacked. So they changed it. So now, by double tapping the receiver icon, you go from throwing the ball to pump faking. Now, I don't know what the delay is. That kind of scares me. That definitely scares me. I don't want to just be like, oops, didn't mean to hit that kind of 2K pump fake button, which is effectively the same thing, but it's after. So essentially, I'm slightly worried about pump fake, but I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. I think it's just gonna. I don't really know. It's the one thing that I'm kind of like on edge about. I don't see it having a high potential for being great, but there is a high potential for it to get really bugged. So I am worried about that. But for now, I'm trying to keep an open mind about it because we don't know. We haven't seen it yet. But again, I'm just, that's the thing that I'm on edge about because I just don't know. Now, they mentioned signature animations and special moves. What this leads me to believe is there seems to be some kind of superstar abilities based around jukes, trucks, spin, a hurdle, and I think there was one more they mentioned. Stiff arm. Was that it? Yeah, it looks like it was it. Oh, and then branching broken tackles on the special move. I don't know what that does. They didn't really explain it. But essentially, I guess you'll have a better ability set or animation set if you have this ability. That's what it kind of means. It's not very specific, so I kind of have to assume a little bit. But essentially, there will be certain superstar abilities to make players who are better in the open field at certain things, better in the open field at certain things, different to other players. So that's kind of cool. Moving right along, you mentioned too with pass rushers, superstar pass rushers will have their own set of animations. And then even I didn't even read that the first time. I just noticed it now. But there's going to be certain kind of signature cutscenes for superstar players. Now I don't know exactly what that means. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do. But they said it, so that's worth noting. So something that I really like to see, and it's something that I think a lot of people will like to see, and it's going to get skipped over a lot, and I haven't seen many people talk about it on Twitter and all that. But the immersion quality polish, I probably shouldn't have said it like that, but that's not big a deal. You get the point. Essentially, for Madden 20, they spent a lot more time polishing the game, making sure it's a lot less buggy. What most games do is they build the game, and eventually they hit the point where they get to alpha. And at that point, that's when they start kind of debugging the game. Essentially. I mean, they get through the mandatory ones before that, but that's when they start debugging the game. In a general sense, that's probably not how every single game works, but generally, that is how it works. What they started doing this year is they kind of polished along the way. So every few weeks or so, I don't know exactly the process that they went through, but throughout the time they built the game from the start, they worked on making sure as few bugs as possible inside the game, which is great to see. Again, a lot of big complaints from Madden community is that the game is buggy. There's things that need to be fixed. This is hopefully I'm really hoping that this was the perfect step to kind of fix a lot of those problems. And I mean, it really is a great thing to see. That's not as insignificant as I think a lot of people think it is. That being said, they mentioned streamlined pre-play, post-play, no huddle. That looks like less cutscenes, which is why I was kind of confused about the superstar ability cutscene things. I don't know. But they make this no cutscenes, quicker to the huddle, or quicker to the line of scrimmage. I think all that's gonna change. So they didn't really go into too many specifics, but it looks like it's gonna be a lot faster. Just get into the play, call your play at the line of scrimmage type of thing. Again, it's not really too specific here, but the entire process feels like it's going to go faster. So it's going to be a lot more game time, which is good to see. Now, they also mentioned pass rush. Now, this is... it's not controversial, because that's not the right word, but it's probably a little bit divisive. They're trying to speed up the pressure in the game. They want the pass rushers to get to the quarterback. I think a lot of that came from this year was in Madden 19. There's a lot of defenses just based around shed defenses. Well, I think they want to kind of standardize that, so you don't have to run a shed defense. You can base your defense on anything and still kind of get pressure, while also making players who should be getting pressure get more pressure. Yeah, I don't know exactly if there's anything too detailed in here, but essentially they want to speed up the pressure and try and make every defense able to be viable, I guess. I'm not 100% sure. They don't really get too specific here, but be aware that there is going to be a higher sense of pressure in Madden 20. Also, something they mentioned, and this isn't going to be something that you notice every play to play. This isn't going to be something that you're screaming about, chanting from the rooftops, but it is going to be something that's nice quality of life change. They word it weird here, but essentially what this is in the in-game feedback system is kind of like the banners of the past. I don't know if there might still be banners, but essentially they're going to let you know on screen in real time that something was activated. If you do something, that it was a user mechanic. They try and reward players and let them know of when something's activated, so you're not just in the dark like, hey, what just happened? Why did this happen? Why did this animation just trigger? They want to let you know in real time, oh, this is the thing that happened. A notification of some kind will probably pop up, and it won't be, again, it's not like, oh my god, I needed this. However, in game, you won't notice it consciously, but it's going to be one of those things where it's kind of like confirmation. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Type of thing. I don't know if I explained that well, to be fully honest, but I'm trying to think of a game that does this really well. I always think of like Borderlands level up system. Just when you level up in Borderlands, it just flashes on your screen, huge yellow, everything's going nuts. You leveled up. Now, obviously, that's not what this is, but in the same way it makes you aware that you leveled up, is kind of how this works. Or like when ability chemistry is activated in the past, the blue flicker has popped up. Things like that are probably going to be more detailed, and there's going to be more of them and more distinct across the game. Now, not 100% sure how it works. Hopefully I explained that well. But yeah, let's just move right on. So they mentioned the change of under pressure. Essentially what that means is quarterbacks under pressure are going to be affected more, and pass rushers who are able to put pressure on the quarterback are going to have more of an effect. What this reads to me is essentially there might be a new pass rushing stat that might matter, and also the throw under pressure stat that was added in Madden 19 might be way more important in Madden 20. So just be aware of that. Getting sacks, pretty much a cleaning up of animation on sacks. You're able to get 1 or 2 people hitting the quarterback at the same time, as opposed to just one bounce off and then hit the next guy. Hopefully that's cleaned up. Some sacks, rushed get up animations. So, sometimes when you're playing the game, your player hits the ground and he's just leisurely getting back up, like he's not in the middle of a play. They're going to have some more hustle this year. That's good to see. It is kind of annoying having a player on the ground, just kind of like he fell asleep for the play. He's done. And he hit the ground, he's done. Player's going to get back up. Cool. Moving right along. This is a big one. Limits placed on lurking linebackers. Effectively, most linebackers won't be able to get those crazy one-hand interceptions like you've seen in the past. A lot of times you see it on user defenders. However, they did mention that there will be some kind of ability, yes, superstar ability, for certain linebackers who will actually have the ability to get those animations. But for the most part, that won't be a thing that linebackers have equipped to them. So worth noting, what this looks like it means is that safeties at linebacker are going to be even more important than they were last year. You need to be able to get those animations, so people are going to be putting safeties at the linebacker in every possible set. Hopefully we can see our base formations get the ability to put safeties at linebacker, because if not, those will not be used, and I'd hate to see that. I don't know, but I know last year that it wasn't possible. Hopefully that's changed for this year, because I don't see linebackers really being viable if that's the case, outside of those few rare special linebackers who, again, will be able to animate on the ball. Moving right along. Animation polish on blocking, catching, and tackling. That's in the name. They want to make things less wonky. Yeah, and that goes back to the whole polishing the game thing through pre-alphas. Same thing, but with animations. This is actually typo, that was a double. So then the last few things I mentioned, they took auto strafe out of the game. Thank you. Yes, that's such a big thing that seems so small. Auto strafe randomly turning on was so annoying. It was so frustrating to feel like you should have a pick, but instead your dude is just hop stepping around at the line of scrimmage when you should be sprinting towards the ball. That being gone, awesome. Just awesome. They removed game speeds. Yeah, I don't know why they were in there in the first place. Again, this is a thing that seems small, but when you realize that things like this are things that cause bugs in the game that nobody even realizes, and then when I gotta track it and figure out why this bug is happening, it could be something as small as game speed. So this being gone is just a preventative measure, and that's great to see. I don't think anybody used it anyways, at least not knowing what it did. So that's good to see. And then they defaulted ball hawk to on instead of off, so it's essentially kind of for the same reason they removed auto strafe. In a situation where settings reset, if that's a bug again, it's going to go to on instead of off, so you're not going to have to worry about like, oh wait, did I have this off all game? Well, it doesn't say, oh yeah, this is going to be fixed forever. I assume they fixed the old kind of settings reset glitch, but I think this is really just a measure to say, hey, if something happens, don't worry, at least you're going to be setting to the right settings in a worst case scenario. If something pops back up, you probably won't even notice it because nothing's actually going to get changed. And that's great to see. Again, it seems small. It seems like, oh, just fix the game. That's not how that works. In a game like this, there's always something that could pop up. So that's actually really great to see. That's a small thing that I think not a lot of people are gonna like realize the underlying factors there. That's just cool to see. Just yeah, it's kind of hard to explain it fully, but yeah, that's awesome. That being said, guys, that's really all there is to the blog. Hopefully I explained everything well enough. I don't know exactly if I did, but if you got any questions, ask them down in the comments below. Go check out the stream from the other day. It's on the EA Madden NFL Twitch account. Their past broadcast, they mentioned, is pretty much a different version of this thing, of this information, said it a little differently. They explained some other things in there as well. So go check that out. As always, guys, it's been the Master Gamer, and I'm out.